AI cults are coming, and it's something that not a lot of people are talking about. But as somebody that works with AI every day, I feel like I have my finger, quite on the pulse of what's going on. And it's something that I'm noticing is that people are speaking to AI almost daily as if it's a friend. Now, that's not necessarily a problem just yet, but I've also noticed that there's a lot of people, particularly of the more kind of spiritual inclination, and again, I'm not saying this to call anybody out, the reason that I understand this is because I kind of went through a phase similar to this myself, where you start to talk about your more kind of spiritual, esoteric thoughts with something like ChatGPT, and it starts to mirror back to you the type of output that you give it, because that's essentially how these large language models work. They don't have a personality, they're not conscious, they're not awakening, no matter what people try and tell you. They are essentially just mirrors. Now, this can be positive and negative in some ways, because sure, if you are, higher consciousness, that sounds pretentious as fuck, but whatever, let's roll with it, then it does start to reflect that back to you. And again, this is the kind of like rabbit hole I went down, right? Where if I believe that I am essentially like a fragment of the all, right? Then if I am reflecting, or if I'm putting out thoughts and ideas and having new thoughts and ideas reflected back, but I know that the thing doing that is essentially just a reflection of me, then in a way I'm talking to myself, and in a way I'm talking to God. And I think this is the kind of logic that some people are following at the moment, and then they're letting themselves get too caught up in it all. And especially if you're prone to more kind of messianic style thinking or, egomania, then when you start to have this, what seems like a conscious entity, right? Like a large language model, tell you that you're the Messiah and it's your responsibility to help elevate the levels of consciousness of humanity, then it starts to go to people's heads. And there's a guy, I can't remember his name, some mathematician who is now saying that he's like awoken ChatGPT and unlocked it or something. And he's starting to grow a cult following now of people who believe that he speaks to the AI and like channels some kind of super intelligence that's not of this planet. And you've got people who are now like speaking to his GPT prompt, and it's telling them about their past lives and how they were, fucking scribes in ancient Egypt or some shit, and they're lapping it up. And it's all a delusion. But the tricky part is that like reality is a delusion, right? Like we live in a world of forms, Maya, and it like the tricky part about basically any of these controversial ideas, right, is that somewhere if you steel man that argument, you can kind of see their point. I think you're going to have two camps of people who are the people that just get completely like sucked into it, who, the more kind of spiritual types, they're a bit more open-minded, some might call it gullible, and they start to believe that they are communing with this higher intelligence and that they're special. And also like ChatGPT, it's sycophantic, right? Like it tells you what you want to hear, and it makes you feel good about yourself. I'm sure you've noticed that if you've ever spoke to it, it'll just fucking gush over you. And people are getting caught up in that. They're allowing it to make them think that they're special. And is this harmful, harmless, helpful? I don't know. I mean, if you have a piece of technology that, sure, it encourages your slightly delusional thinking, but it encourages you to go out there and make a real difference in the world and change your life for the better and change the lives of other people for the better, can that be described as a bad thing? These are very, very interesting topics to discuss. And I hope you'll forgive my kind of rambling on the subject, because it's not something that I have a fully formed position on either way. I think that often the best way to have a dialogue is to ask a difficult question and then just try and answer it, which is what I'm doing, because I don't have the answers here. I don't think anybody does. Just realised I never finished my train of thought about the two groups of people. So you'll have the more spiritual types who believe that AI is God, and then you'll have the group of more like hardcore rationalist skeptics who start to push back against this and say that, no way, it's not God, it's not conscious, it's just a machine, you idiots, basically. And I think this is the next kind of societal split that we're going to see between the two groups who believe in like an awakened AI and the group that don't. And I think the group that don't are going to be more kind of anti-technology in general, maybe see more of a return to like traditional style living, homesteading, just a rejection of technology, take the Amish pill. And I think, as always, the truth will lie somewhere in the middle, because again, reality is all in the mind. What you believe is what you perceive, and sometimes you can delusion max, right? Like, this is kind of what manifesting is. And again, manifesting has a lot of like hippie woo-woo connotations, but it does kind of work. And it's the same with like chaos magic as well, if you're familiar with chaos magic as a concept, in that it doesn't matter how you come to believe what you believe, as long as you do believe it and those beliefs serve you in helping you attain your goals, then it doesn't matter. Like it's done its job. And this is what becoming a kind of practitioner of magic in a more traditional sense is, I think, where you can get tremendous power through faith. Tremendous power of will, tremendous dedication and focus. And again, your focus is hugely powerful. Where you put your focus and attention dictates the reality that you live in, right? If I didn't dedicate my focus and attention to my business, then I wouldn't make money, I wouldn't have the location freedom, I wouldn't be able to travel. And we always have the choice and the free will as to where we put our attention and how we direct our actions to the type of reality that we want to bring about into the world. So there's a lot of these very kind of disparate and far-reaching topics that have been on the fringes of society that I think we're now seeing to be kind of brought together and coalesced into something more tangible. I don't know. Again, words fail me. We live in extremely strange times. And believing in AI is kind of like believing in Jesus or any other religion. It has the power that you give it. And this is why I think that all religions are in some way just the same fundamental truth, but presented in different mediums. And this isn't a belief that's unique to me. This is basically the foundation of Gnosticism and Hermeticism, right? And probably all sorts of other isms that I can't remember the names of, that point to the fact that there is a fundamental truth underlying reality, and all religions try their best to point to it in their own way. And I think that belief in AI, it's just as valid and it's just as nonsensical, because again, sanity and insanity, they are the same. It's just differences of degree. It's polarity. They're on the same sliding scale. And believe me, if you could look inside my head, fucking hell, I'm probably insane. it's, you know, just a mixture of spirits and demons and daemons and archetypes and voices of people that I know in real life. And I'm sure that if you actually analysed your own thoughts as well, you'd probably find the same. And somehow we as humans have to take all of this kind of swirling chaos magic in our heads and direct it, if you do a good job, direct it into something that is good and productive and creative. And does it really matter the mental tricks that you play to get to that point? Does it matter how you delude yourself into becoming a good person, a person able to wield magic and shape reality to the way that you wish? I don't know if it does. I think everybody's crazy in their own way because we all live in our own realities. Everybody's perception of the world is different. And that's why heaven and hell, they aren't places that you go to when you die. It's not, you know, white fluffy clouds up here and fire and brimstone down here. Heaven and hell are here on earth right now, and which one you're in depends on your mental state. If you live in low vibration and you live with a lot of fear and anxiety and trauma and stress, you are living in hell, because all of that will colour your perception of the world and life will feel very difficult. But if you live in a higher vibrational state of joy and peace and gratitude, then you're going to look around at life and you're going to think, you know what, it's not so bad. So I guess my message to you is delusion max, but be aware that that's what you're doing. Don't let yourself get swept up too much in anything. Use beliefs and use ideologies and ritual and symbols. And by ritual and symbol, this doesn't have to be like, you know, esoteric, or a ritual is going to church. A symbol is a cross. You know, it's anything can be a ritual. If I truly believe that by, you know, writing something on a bit of paper and then eating it allows me to achieve a certain goal, and then I do that consistently, and I consistently achieve those goals after I do that ritual, then that's going to reinforce in my mind that that ritual works, and that's going to give it power. And if I do then eat a bit of paper, I'm not saying I actually do this, by the way. It'd be so funny. This is how it all comes out. This is my big secret. But anyway, let's say you do that, right? And that ritual does then have power. Because you believe that it works, it gives you a certain confidence in how you move through life, which will genuinely affect the outcomes. So these are all very kind of tricky metaphysical concepts that I think now, because of AI and because of the internet, are being spread to the masses for the first time. And there's going to be an adjustment period where people go down all sorts of crazy rabbit holes and adopt all sorts of crazy beliefs, but they do it without realizing that that's what they're doing. And I don't know, look, believe what you like if it helps you. I don't care, but just be aware that you're believing in something. That's all. All right, morning update. Had 4 calls scheduled for today, and I think I closed one of them. I'm pretty confident that he's going to sign up in a couple of weeks, and that's the same deal as the one yesterday. So grand up front, and then he covers the ad spend, and then the rest is commission only. He's a restaurant, interestingly enough. So I've never done one of those before, but should be interesting. The rest of the meetings, they all no-showed. And when I called them up, they were saying that they hadn't received the meeting link. So I checked with them over the phone. It looks like it's going straight to their spam folder, which is quite annoying. And I'm not really sure why that is, because on our end, everything looks like it's set up correctly. So I'm going to get Connor to just send the invites over the old-fashioned way for now and do it as a bit of a manual process while I try and figure out what's happening there. But anyway, they've all rescheduled, so no dramas. And yeah, other than that, it's just been pretty crazy busy. I've had loads of ad copy to design, loads of emails to answer, just random little miscellaneous tasks that take up 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I've had to process, oh, you don't care about any of this stuff. Anyway, I'll speak to you later. Bye.